So we arrive at the first Pokemon movie to get a limited release through Miramax, Pokemonth Forever. Or as I like to call it, Pokemonanoke. Because while 2000 had a subtle global warming commentary, this movie is freaking Ferngully.
And I'm just gonna get it out of the way now, this is a really long way to fall from 3.
So what's the story? We start with a young boy named Sam taking a trip through the woods. On his journey, he happens upon the legendary Pokemon Celebi, the spirit of the forest, being pursued by a Pokemon hunter who plans to sell it to the highest bidder. When Sam intervenes, Celebi escapes by traveling through time, taking Sam with it into the future, which turns out to be the present as Sam eventually meets up with Ash and the gang. But Celebi isn't out of the woods yet. No pun intended, as a member of Team Rocket called the Iron Masked Marauder, also voiced by Dan Effin Green, has come looking for it, meaning it's up to our heroes to protect Celebi and find a way to get Sam back to the past.
Before I start digging into this one, I'd actually like to go over the positives first, because this movie does have quite a few.
First of all, this one is very subdued compared to the original 3, and does a pretty good job of staying out of your face in terms of action. The imagery is a lot brighter too, and the pacing is much more relaxed. Plus, it does a lot of cool stuff with the time travel aspect. There's a plot twist at the end that I'll avoid spoiling because I assume not a whole lot of people have seen this one, but I will say that it's built up well and has a decent payoff. The movie actually has a lot of twists that an older viewer can probably see coming, but are foreshadowed well enough that it makes the story feel more solid. Plus, steampunk Pokeballs!
I repeat, steampunk Pokeballs.
So with all the positives I see in this movie, why doesn't it rank higher on my list?
Because I cannot freaking stand Celebi.
This movie may not get in your face with action, but it definitely gets in your face with cuteness, which for me gets really old really fast. There's only so much enthusiasm I can muster for watching this thing fly around and squeak. And maybe that would have been different if I had seen this at a younger age.
Oh, no, wait, I did see this at a younger age, back when it was called Princess Mononoke.
I'm not just saying they have similar themes, I'm saying that after a certain point, the plot becomes almost identical to the Miyazaki film. The problem is, unlike the forest spirit from Mononoke, Celebi never inspires a sense of awe.
Celebi is the second Pokemon we see as a personification of the natural world, the first being Lugia. And while Lugia is powerful like the sea, Celebi is fragile like the forest.
It's just as vulnerable to humans and their technology, but is far less destructive in its power. Until, like in Princess Mononoke, we see that power abused and all hell breaks loose. But the film seems much more concerned with showing you how cute Celebi is, which makes it feel less like a forest spirit and more like something for the main characters to laugh with, and wave at, and feed berries to, while it
flies around and squeaks!
And if that doesn't appeal to you, odds are you aren't going to give a crap about this thing, or the film's very heavy-handed environmental message. A major theme of this movie is friendship, and it makes sense that Sam and Celebi would form a relationship. But it feels more like the only reason you're supposed to care about Celebi is because the characters care about Celebi, which can work in some cases, but here it just isn't enough. Plus, Sam is also forming a relationship with Ash, who is in turn forming his own relationship with Celebi, which makes everything feel very confused and cluttered, and all the while no one else is doing anything. Except for one scene where Brock pulls out his Onyx.
Stop laughing, you know what I meant.
Brock and Misty are dead weight, which is frustrating after 3 did such a good job of making this group feel like a team, rather than one guy and his 2 sidekicks. As for Team Rocket, who barely even had a role in the previous film, they're just riding shotgun with the villain the whole time. And oh, that villain. Dan Green or no, the Iron Masked Marauder is even less interesting than Lawrence III, who at least had a cool gimmick and was even kinda classy. You know the saying that a good villain doesn't actually believe he's evil? Well, this guy actually believes he's evil. He even uses a special kind of Pokeball called a Dark Ball, which turns whatever it captures into evil Pokemon. It doesn't make them aggressive or strip them of their free will, it just makes them evil. Because apparently technology can make that distinction. His plan? To use Celebi to take over the world. And in case that wasn't evil enough, every so often he finds an excuse to stretch his giant anime mouth and let out a maniacal laugh. And once his plan to turn Celebi into a big, twiggy lobster dragon is put into motion, the significance of what he's done is almost instantly diluted by really distracting CG. This wasn't the first Pokemon movie to use computer graphics, but it was definitely the first to use them this much. And it's so out of place and so overdone that it's hard not to be taken out of the moment. At one point, the legendary Pokemon Suicune gets thrown into the mix, leading to a showdown between a giant forest colossus and the North Wind itself. Sounds pretty epic, but half that battle was made by a computer. And I know I praised this movie for not constantly trying to blow your mind, but if you're going to include a big action sequence, make sure it looks like a big action sequence. Though they do have to make one of these every year, so I guess I can't really fault the animators for wanting to save time and money. The resolution of the movie has problems of its own, but again, I'm avoiding spoilers from now on. Just know that if any of my other complaints resonated with you, odds are you won't much care for the ending either. Except for the plot twist, which I still think is very well done, for giving a pretty significant retcon. I know there are a lot of people out there who actually really like this movie, and as I pointed out earlier, there's a lot to like about it. But I also see a lot of flaws, and unlike a movie like Spell of the Unknown, the positives aren't enough for me to ignore those flaws.
And before you say the only reason I don't like Forever is because I lack a nostalgic attachment to it, know that there are movies after 3 that I do like. This one just isn't among them.
But we would see drastic improvements in the next installment in the series, Pokémon Heroes. Next time on Pokémon! Time for the answers to the viewer question, who is your favorite legendary dog? The results came in with Raikou in 3rd place, Suicune in 2nd, and Entei reigning supreme as number 1. Yes, the power of Dan Green is indeed strong. If you'd like a chance to see your comment up here, simply answer the following question. If a Celebi traveling at 45 eons per second collides with the TARDIS, thus sending it back to the Stone Age, where it accidentally kills a Kabutops whose descendant was meant to stop World War III, leading to an apocalyptic future ruled by radioactive squid pigeons who eat battery acid on Thursdays and speak Korean, which Pokemon would you throw into the reactor to blow up the compound and defeat the avian menace once and for all? Leave your answer in the comments below and you just might see it featured on the next episode of Pokemonth. In the meantime...